आकाशवल्लेपविदूरगोऽहम् आदित्यवद् भास्यविलक्षणोऽहम्.
There is a word in our culture called Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha is a Sanskrit word. This is generally used in the context of Mahatmas, Sajjanas, enlightened people, knowers of truth and the rest. What does it mean? Their life and whatever activities they perform, pursue, it's always meant for the goodness and the welfare of the society. I generally put it for the cohesion and well-being of the society. The word actually means Loka Sangraha. Lokasya Unmarga Pravritti Nivrittakam Karma Loka Sangraha. As the society continues to live, you will find there will always be various elements of corruption and malpractices. Do you understand? Do you agree or not? There is a proverb. What is that? When prosperity is there, men decay. See, our minds begin to decay, that's all. It just happens. You leave everything to itself. Then you will find no progress, no solidarity can be had. So when we have a large scope, then we were saying Britishers were robbing us of our wealth. Now, I don't know how many Britishers were there. Persons in authority would have been much less than what we have now. As far as the calculation I have is concerned, we have about 9,000 IAS officers in India and about 900 elected ministerial representatives. So altogether about 7,000 people are there. I don't know whether during the British regime so many people were there. Now everyone has got the key for public money in one way or the other. When money grows, men decay. It's a natural development. Why am I mentioning this? The role of Loka Sangraha comes because of this plight. As the society continues to live, a number of corruptions, a number of malpractices will creep in. Now somebody should come up and then say this is not right, and enlightening the people and persuading them through enlightenment, they will have to be brought back to their rails. So finding the society going wrong, walking the wrong way, somebody takes up the responsibility of explaining to them, for us the Shastras are there. What you do is not right. We will not talk to anybody individually. Collectively the criticism is offered so that nobody is offended. From a public platform, I speak a lot, and hearing me people even smile. When I explain the corruptional elements in humanity, all of them, because they are not personally attacked, it's only a general evaluation. This Loka Sangraha is something done by enlightened people. Arjuna came to the battlefront in Kurukshetra after 13 years of preparation. And when the chariot was stopped before Bhishma and Drona, in front of Bhishma and Drona, suddenly Arjuna felt a colossal sin facing him. And he laid down his weapons and said, I am going to leave the battlefield and I am going to be an ascetic man. Was it right or not? No answer? It was wrong. Now Krishna, if he was not there, Arjuna would have left. So Krishna admonished him, exhorted him, stopped him and gave him the correct point of view. Ever since then, Krishna's gospel continues to guide our society. It was a conversation that transpired between two individual administratives, almost kings you can say. And that personal dialogue between the two transpired at one time in the battlefield of Kurukshetra has become the norm, the ideal, the standard for all of us. Anybody who reads Gita, he will always admit the fact that corruptional elements are in me. and I cannot permit it. And what are the corruptions? Deva Asura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. There is a chapter. Asura Sampat. What is the Asura Sampat? What is the Devi Sampat? That is mentioned. What is good? What is bad? So enlightening the people in this manner, bring them back to their rails. This is the role of Loka Sangraha. Whenever a sannyas, a person like me, he appears in the society, in the company of householders, addresses them, you will find what we do is Loka Sangraha. People generally give a name social service. What is this social service? A man can be served for his body and bodily needs. He can be served for his mental, intellectual and heart needs. Now what we are trying to do is, there will be primarily some peace in what we say or in our association. That peace is a minimum requirement like food and nourishment for the body. Then for the intelligence, there is a lot of persuading insights present, compulsive values present. I always say, when a value is rightly presented, it instantly evokes an emotional persuasion and an intellectual compulsion. Did you hear what I said? Any value, when you present it properly, the hearer will automatically feel an emotional persuasion towards it. And if it is rightly presented, the intelligence will put the stamp of compulsion. It is right, it is indispensable. That is how the values should be presented. When we selected the motto, Satyameva Jayade, there was a lot of insight in the people at that time. Because we are Indians. We are a slave country. We have got liberation. We have got the right to think. So the thoughts connected them to the Upanishads. And from the Mundaka Upanishad, the motto was selected. Satyameva Jayate. The next words are Na Anrugam. Never untruth. Satya alone will become victorious, and truth will never be, it will always be non-victorious. I think this is the one central value which India is committed to. We have got a right to demand from the government as well as from every citizen an adherence to this motto. I don't know whether I should tell you. I have written a letter to the Chief Secretary of Kerala. Very recently, 4 brahmacharinis in our ashram, they have now to travel. They want to have an identity. And the first identity as it stands now is, electoral identity is there. They have no such identity there. So the ration card should be there minimum. So I felt that they should be included in the ration card. It is not an easy job. So I asked somebody to talk to the MLA of the place. So they were spoken to. Then our Prabhakaranji followed up the matter. So I got a telephone call from the personal assistant of the MLA saying that please don't come here, we will reach the certification for you in the ashram. I said no, we will send somebody. They certified, the village officer gave us a recognition and finally it was done. But you know, as happens always, they have all put what? Swamiji is the head of the family. All the others are brothers and sisters. This matter was always troubling me. So I have written a letter to the Chief Secretary saying that you should recognize that there are a number of ashram spiritual institutions in the country. Our tradition starts from that. It also perhaps ends with that. So you have to recognize, if our public administration does not take into account this wonderful ageless tradition of the country, culture of the country, we have to actually renounce everything before becoming a sannyasi. 2 kinds of renunciation. Renounce all our income. Any kind of a profession, lucrative affair we do, everything should be left. Then we should also declare to ourselves that we are no more connected to our blood relations. If you have a matrimonial one, that also. And we even offer Pinda and Udaka for ourselves so that when the body dies, no more Shraddha, no more Pindodaka Kriya. And so sanctifying and so sublime and sacrosanct sannyasa is. So I would like you to consider the matter. Our public administration cannot be so blind and so indifferent. So I feel bad about it. And we have listed all the reasons and we are sending a letter. See, when a sannyasin, he is himself a trust. He doesn't have the necessity to form another trust. Do you ask any temple deity to form a trust to receive the offerings the temple receives? Certainly not. So we are a living God and the temples have a mute God. That is the only difference. But our culture does not recognize it. What can be done? So when we selected the motto Satyameva Jayate, it had a great lot of meaning. And when we collected the national flag, that also had a lot of meaning. One is the green color representing the vegetation upon the earth. Another is the beautiful yellow. And the third is the white, pure white. And there is a chakra which is constantly supposed to be revolving. So the entire world is a world, a cosmic wheel of activity. Everywhere in the universe, all planets, all heavenly bodies, even the atom, everything is revolving here. Nothing is keeping quiet. And we cannot afford to be idle any time. We are having our food and the food is converted into energy. This energy has to be spent and only through activity it can be spent. If there is anybody who eats at the same time who does not act, there is a great crime and disharmony. That is what the wheel represents. Somebody had sought to explain it as the Ashoka's wheel. The wheel is there right beforehand. In Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned, Evam pravartidam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayur indriyaramo mogham partha sajivati. Perhaps Krishna was the first person to use it in this context. Evam pravartidam chakram. The wheel of creation, the wheel of preservation, the wheel of activity, the wheel of sustenance, it has to be constantly held up. Anybody who does not adhere to it, his life is in vain, he says. Aghayuhu, aghayuhu. He lives a wasteful life. Indriya Ramaha. He is only given to sensory delights. He doesn't give any place for the mind or the intelligence. Mogham partha sajivati. He lives absolutely in vain. His life has no purpose at all. So much importance is there. So all these were done in a very good taste and with a great ideal. So this culture is something very, very great. Very, very great. So whenever Shankara describes it in this manner, you have to find a lot of insight here. You are connected to a prehistoric, ageless past. All these people are born in the household for householders. Most of them, or all of them you can say, except one or two, they are all people of the loins. They are all people of the world, secular people. But one will be here and there. One will be here and there, who is given to this greater and holy dimension. Shanta mahamto nivasanti santo vasantaval lokahidam charandaha. In our doing what we do, we have no motivation at all. No desire, no expectation, no compulsion, no persuasion, nothing. It is just like the Vasanta Maruta that we are living and moving. I always style myself as, I have been a moving university for the past 56 years in the world. Anybody can take admission in my university. No fees are called for. It's open, an open university. I don't ask them to come, I go to them. All of you are not coming to the ashram from Jamshedpur, but I have been coming here for the past 47 years. See how faithfully I have been coming. So I am a moving university with the only mission of enlightening the people, young or old, rich or poor, educated or uneducated. And why am I doing it? I feel like doing it. What about the spring season? Collecting and spreading fragrance everywhere in the same manner as I am a human spring season. Just see the dimension. There are discussions. What is that? What is the greatest goal of human life? The physical need, the psychological need, the social need, and finally they say self-actualization. Our need is not just that. Self-actualization can be had and you can sit in the forest. But here Shankara says, no. Shanta mahamto nivasanti santo. You live in this world edifyingly, elegantly, enlighteningly, benedictorily. Your life should become a blessing for the people, a benefit for the people, an enrichment for the people, an endless contribution to their welfare and cohesion. Live in that manner. Acquire that personality, gain that personality. Understand it first, imbibe it next, pursue and perfect it still next, and then start flowing, 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 spreading, spreading, spreading. Vasantavallokahitam charantaha tirna swayam bhima bhavarnavam janan. First of all, you have to cross the ocean of worldliness. Never make a mistake. These are days when we have spiritual academic institutions where 2 or 3 years courses are offered. It's very good. After the 3-year course, people become brahmacharyans or sannyasins and they start speaking to the others. At least that much they do. If you ask me, I am not in favor of it. This life has to be first of all lived by oneself, pursued by oneself. And there is no stealth or corruption here. You have to become pure. You have to become holy. You have to become benign. You have to become benevolent. Once that personal requirement is fulfilled, become a seeker of truth and see that your seeking is fulfilled. After fulfilling your seeking, having crossed the ocean of worldliness, tirna swayam, tirnaha, having gone across, swayam, ourselves, bhima bhavarnavam. This is a huge, fierce ocean of worldliness. Thereafter, janan ahetunanyana pitarayantaha. With no reason or motive in mind, you should be able to freely speak to people, interact with them, and promote, help, strengthen, and reinforce their welfare. Shankara is not satisfied. He describes it. What is this life? Is it ever possible if you ask? Yes, it is possible. Our life is primarily dependent upon 2 luminaries in the world. What are they? One is the sun. Another is the moon. Luminaries, I said. One is the sun. Another is the moon. We require the moon as much as we require the sun. The sun shines and spreads its rays of light and heat throughout the day. And the sun sets. Then the moon comes. Both of them are doing 2 different tasks. One is heating, another is cooling and lighting. See what a beautiful harmony is there. So he says, Ayam swabhava swatayesha yat swatayeva yat parashamapanoda pravanam mahatmanam sudham shuresha swayamarka karkasha prabhabhitaptam avadikshitim kila. You know, when I read this first, I don't know when I read it. Most probably my reading was when I was in Calcutta. In my pre-sannyasa life, I first read Mundakopanishad, then Kathopanishad, then Kenopanishad. Then I read Shvetashvataropanishad. Then I read Bhagavad Gita. I have told you, I shall say again. You know, I got an opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita in full when I had an attack of chicken pox. I could not go anywhere. I was huddling in my room. I looked at the mirror. People say, don't look at the mirror completely. I was having headache. I took a towel and tied it around my forehead. I started reading Bhagavad Gita. The whole of it I read. First time. A very good opportunity I had. When I was reading the 2nd chapter, it was so inspiring. So inspiring. Achedyo yamadahyoyam akledyo ashoshyayevaja Nityaha Sarvagataha Sthanuhu Achaloyam Sanatanaha Avyaktoyam Achintyoyam Avikaryoyam Uchyate Tasmadevam Viditvainam Nanushochitumarhasi. Is there any father who has given this kind of a gospel to the children? My dear son, therefore, you don't deserve to grieve. You should not grieve. This is the reason for it. When I read Najayate Mriyate Va Kadachid Nayam Bhutva Bhavita Vana Bhuyaha Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano Na Hanyate Hanyamane Sharire. Bah. What was it? It was a song. Song of what? Of the soul. It was not something different. It was about the soul. Means what? The power and presence that animate and activate your body. This is not a description of the outside product. It is not a description of Vaikuntha or Kailasa. It is not a description of the sun or the moon or the heaven or Brahmaloka. It is a description of what makes you breathe. Do you follow me? हाँ? क्या बोलते हैं आप? सोच सुन लीजिए ना, अच्छी तरह सोच लीजिए. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिद. Arjuna, what you call I, the jiva in the body, it never gets born, nor does it ever die. That means what? I am immortal. What? And what do all people tell you? You are mortal. You are mortal. Who is mortal? My body is mortal. My house I have built, but I have not built my body, much less the soul. So when we are born with a twofold heredity. One is the mortal heredity imposed by the body, and equally so the immortal one radiating from the soul. We have eyes only to see the mortal heredity of the body. We don't have the wisdom and the intelligence to comprehend, to realize the immortal nature of the spirit. So in my chicken pox spell, I had an occasion for it. Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Na jayate mriyate va kadachid nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha. After having been here for a while, the soul is not going to stop, cease or withdraw. It is existence. Existence can never become non-existent. Existence exists and exists. It never blinks. It never winks. It never becomes extinct. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. This is unborn, ajaha. Nityaha, eternal. Shashvataha, ever present in the same manner. Puranaha, the most ancient. There is nothing more ancient than this. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Even when the body is killed, it is not going to get killed. Nobody is there to kill the soul. What is it that, Arjuna, that you are speaking about? I am going to kill all of them. Stop. Shut your mouth. Think and understand. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The bodies of all these people, they are out to kill others or get killed in the process. Nobody is going to be killed who is not prepared to kill others here in the battlefield. It was not a bomb dropped in the civilian congregation. They were fighting with each other. Only fighters were there. And they have come here to kill the opponent or get killed by him. When the body is going to kill the other bodies, the soul is not involved in it. Understand it very well, he says. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Suppose you were to wake up or you were to sleep with this song in your lips, in your mind, in your heart, do you know what a great person you will be? No money is to be spent. Maybe you are walking around. In between you steal your memory and go on singing it. Najayate mriyate va kadajid nayam bhutva bhavitava na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Krishna was lovingly singing to Arjuna. And as a crying child goes to sleep by listening to the song of the mother, Arjuna's mind became quiet and calm and peaceful. He jumped up and said, I will fight not one war, but a dozen Mahabharata wars if necessary. He took back his bow and arrow. देख लीजिए ना क्या है, यही है लोक संग्रह. Krishna did not sing it only for Arjuna. He was singing the song of the soul, sung right from the Upanishadic period. And nobody can date it. It is ageless. Our people are so fortunate, so great, so illustrious, that they have never lost this heredity. Someone was here in this country. As I speak to you, somebody must be taking up sannyasa in this country. Quite a number of them are there. Lakhs of people are there. And in the ration card, we are called householders. He says, I am swabhavaha, this swabhava, swatayeva yat parashramaapanoda pravanam mahatmanam. This benign nature, benevolent character of the enlightened people, the sages, the saints, the ascetics, the maharshis and the others. I am swabhavaha, swatayeva. It is very natural to them. It is not imposed on them. They even do not opt for it. It becomes natural to them. Natural to them. Do you understand the message? Swatayeva yat paramam parashrama apanoda pravanam. You know, they are naturally given to relieving the miseries of others, afflictions of the others. A girl rang me up from America. In fact, she belongs to Jamshedpur, I was told. And she started crying. I inquired about her. What is the trouble? For a young girl, married girl, what will be the trouble? You yourself tell me. You know it better than I do. And particularly in America. She said, see, Swamiji, I have love for the husband. I loved him so much. Therefore what? Now I feel he is interested in somebody else. See, you are a married wife. Are you sure about what you say? Yes. He doesn't have as much interest as he had. So what are you going to do? I feel very bad. Don't you have a child? Yes. So, will you look after the child well, or will you mourn over whatever your husband does? What is your option now? You are a mother and you have a child. You cannot bring up the child cryingly and weepingly. And as a wife, even if there is a little aberration in your husband, you have the role and duty to see that he is safeguarded and he is brought back. So this is the time you should become stronger and more heroic. I spoke to her. I want to know very clearly, are you going to feed your child cryingly or sweetly and smilingly? Let there be any situation outer. You are the mother. About the husband you can say he misbehaves. About the child can you say the child misbehaves. So the child is innocent. You have to look after the child very well. How are you going to look after? So finally, before putting down the telephone, I made sure that she started smiling and she smilingly spoke to me. I always say that. Before you go, I should see your smile. Otherwise, don't come to the ashram at all. We are here to make people smile, not people. Krishna spoke to Arjuna, Prahasanniva Bharata. Maybe Yudhishthira would have been smiling. When somebody is crying, you also go. With your kerchief, you also start wiping. So what can you do for him? Nothing. He cries, you also cry. Traveling in the same boat. So when others are crying, you must be able not to cry. Parasramapanoda pravanam mahatmanam. They are very clever, very dexterous, very efficient, very effective in relieving the agony of another's mind, the suffering of the others. They are extremely clever, effective in that, very efficient. Parasramapanoda pravanam mahatmanam. For the high-souled people, I am swabhavaha. This is their natural way of life. Why are we living? Not for eating, not for sleeping. We are living, if at all, for relieving the agony of others, to fulfill the curiosity or inquiry of the others, to make them feel happy in spite of every cause for unhappiness around. Sudham Shuresha Swayameva Karkasha Prabhabhitaptam Avadikshidim Gila. Can there be such a habit in human beings? Yes. Understand that we are a product of earth. What? We are a product of earth. We are all denizens, children of the earth. And the earth is surrounded by so many planets, particularly the sun and the moon. Look at the moon. Look at the sun. Unfailingly, he rises in the morning. Unfailingly, he sets in the evening. Next day, you may get up late, but sun does not get up late. He comes regularly. And so many millennia have passed. Even then there is no change in him. And this earth is a broken piece from the sun. So the earth's denizens that we have, we must have the solar heredity. What? Boliana. We must have the heredity from the earth. But more important than that is the solar heredity. That is why we are called Surya Vamsha. What? Yes, I am a Surya Vamshi. I am a Chandra Vamshi. You unfortunately call yourself as I am a House Vamshi. That is the brevity of your mind, short-sightedness that you have. Everyone has got an earthly heredity, a solar heredity, a lunar heredity. We are surrounded by so many planets, and our earth is a planet. You may say your father, X, father's father, another X. Tell me if you have the power of imagination, the first parents of the earth, where from were they born? यहाँ कोई आदमी है मुझे एक जवाब देने के लिए. The first parents, where from were they born? Were they born from other parents? Huh? Then where from? They were born of the earth, they were born of air, they were born of water, they were born of the sky, they were born of fire. We have heat in the body, fire. We have air in the body, air. We have water in the body, yes. And we have a mass that like the earth. That is why we are called Panchabhautik. We are all the Panchabhutas, plus something more. And that is that soul. The something more is missed, and Panchabhutas are smelt. That is our problem. A partiality that we suffer from. A confusion that we have inherited and we are perpetuating. Sudham Shureva, Sudham Shuresha. Look at the moon. What does he do? Swayameva, of his own volition, of its own volition. Swayameva, Karkasha Prabhabhitaptam Avadikshidim Kila. By shedding its cool rays, the surface of the earth which is scorched by the sun during the day, he begins to cool it. And nobody asks him to do so. Similarly, the whole of humanity is suffering from inner heat, psycho-intellectual heat, the torments, the afflictions, the sufferings, the agitations, the tensions, the anxieties, the curiosities. So many insufficiencies they suffer from. and suffering under a great load of all these things, these people by their words, looks and interactions give them a little cooling comfort. Have you any thought? My dear souls, grow from the constricted mind of yours. Do not be always within the four walls of your house. Get out. Look into the sky. Look the tall trees. Enjoy the breeze of the wind. Go to the seashore. Look at the expanse there. Look at the sky. Look at so many stars. All of them will be reflected in your mind. And when they reflect, the mind also will radiate the reflected magnitude of these. Am I clear or not? Huh? What is this? I have got 2 children. Myself and my Mrs. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. And remain 4. And go to the grave. Kya baat hai? Dekh lijiye na thoda. So many 4s and 4,000s are there. Why don't you come out of the house? Spend some time blending with nature. Just like your children form their impressions in you, the sky also will form its impression. Your child will give you an impression of 5 feet height, 1.5 feet wide. Whereas the sky will give you an infinite dimension in your mind. Why don't you lie on the ground? Look at the sky. After some time you will find you have become lighter, expansive. You have become very lofty, magnificent. Because the sky is magnificent. Your mind is reflecting it. You know the sky is expansive only from your mind. Am I clear or not? स्काई का अनुभव कहाँ हो रहा है? हमारे मन में. तब देखते समय मन तो स्काई आकाश ही स्वयं हो रहा है. अपने मन को आकाश बनाइए, घर बनाइए मत, घर बनाइए मत. अपने मन को 2 बच्चे नहीं मत बनाइए. My mind, 2 children. See, what nonsense is this? Can we not think bigger and greater? Sudhamshuresha swayameva swayam arkakarkasha prabhabhitaptam avadikshitim kila. Does not the moon every day, by shedding the cool and comforting rays, beautiful rays, relieve and cool the hot surface of the earth? In the same manner, these Mahatmas, it is their own incorrigible nature, their own irresistible persuasion, by virtue of which they ramble about, they roam about in this world, moving from place to place. All people will not be able to go to them, so they start moving differently in different directions, so that many can come to them and get a little comforting and cooling grace. What do you think of our culture, my dear souls? Do you have a brain to understand, appreciate and imbibe it? You are all born in the household, but please never die in the house. What? Nor in the nursing home. Never die there. We are born there, all right. We should not die there. That is why we have got 4 ashramas. What? 4 ashramas. The first is Brahmacharya. All of you have. The second is Grihastha ashrama. Most of you, supermost of you have. And the third is Vanaprastha. None goes there. And the 4th is Sannyasa. Nobody wants it. See, our life is going to be complete only with 4 ashramas. Brahmacharya, Garhastya. When the children become grown up, you have no business to stay in the house. You have already ruled it, enjoyed it. Your innings are over. Come out. Tell the children, rule the family in your manner. I have already given you whatever I could in the form of education. A little wealth if I have bequeathed it to you. Let me go and look after my mind and intelligence. During the first Brahmacharya phase, you have a lot of academic studies to absorb. Then as a householder, you have to turn this and that to look after the family. Overtime working, double working, etc. Now, when you become a Vanaprastha, then alone you get an opportunity to look into your inner personality, find its defects, insufficiencies, set them right, make it noble, great, lofty, magnificent, super, benign, benevolent. As a sannyasin, you declare fearlessness for everybody. I am a non-harming person. I will never harm anybody either by thought or word or act. Yoga Vasishtha puts it in a beautiful manner. I consider these to be great gems of our country. Matariva param yanti vishamani mriduni ja vishwasamiha bhutani sarvani shamashalini. Matariva param yanti vishamani mriduni ja vishwasamiha bhutani sarvani shamashalini. See, if a human becomes good, great, noble, innocent and harmless, what is causing harmfulness in us? Our desire, our possessiveness, our ego. If you are able to sublimate and transcend your possessiveness, your desire and your ego, you have become innocence embodied. Don't think it is greatly distant. Be innocent like a child. Have no desire at all. To have a desire is a crime. It is redundant. Desire will not give you anything. Be non-desiring. Then the super best will flow to you irresistibly from all directions. Our Rigveda says, no bhadraha kratavo yantu vishwataha. From multiple directions of the universe, may noble thoughts enter my inside. आपने सुना क्या? देख लीजिए ना. Keep the windows of your mind open so that noble thoughts will come to you. No bhadraha kratavo yantu vishwataha. This is our prayer, if at all. Be innocent, be benign, be non-harming, be beautiful, be good, be sweet, be nectarine. What prevents you from becoming all this? No education is required, no university is to be sought, no money is to be spent. You should only have the blessing of your own mind and thought, nothing else. Your own mind and thought. So, Vasishtha describes a man, Shamashalini. If there is no desire in a mind and he becomes Shamanvida, he has a desire-free mind. All the cruel and gentle animals of the world, they approach him as if he were their mother. क्या सुना है? हाँ? नहीं समझा? You did not understand what I said? Madariva. A cruel animal also has its mother. The mother is cruel. The child also is cruel. But the cruel child goes to the cruel mother without any fear because that motherliness is there. Not clear? And the gentle animals, they also have their mother. Both of them together go to him. Go to whom? To that person who has no desire in his heart. Madariva param yanti vishamani mriduni ja. Vishamani mriduni ja. The cruel as well as the gentle ones go to him as if he were their mother. Sarvani shamashalini. So when the mind becomes innocent, you become a refuge for all kinds of people in this world. That is why I said, in the channel man who asked me in an inspiration, I said, I am prepared to lead the Naxalites and the terrorists, provided they drop their gun. They have got great force. I will also be very forceful. And let us accomplish our objective, but not with violence and crime, but with gentleness and majesty. We are a democratic country and we have every right to demand what is right. In fact, our government is looking for public expressions of demand and protest so that they can honor it. One Prime Minister sitting in the edifice of New Delhi will not obviously be knowing everything in the country. I am prepared to lead any such community walking in front. I will be very forceful also. In a democratic country, where is it written violence can be a norm for a public expression of a demand or a protest? We can protest anything that we want. We can demand anything that we want. But the process should be one of constitutionalism. It must be constitutional, it must be peaceful, it must be non-criminal. Anybody can say anything in this country. We have got the freedom of speech. But no country can allow violence to be a means for demand or protest. Am I clear or not? Boliye na. So if the Naxalites have or the Maoists have a cause behind them, and that is genuine, I think I should be the first person to support it, intensify it, reinforce it. I think some injustice has been done. We have done it, and we should recognize it and mend it as instantly as possible. Always there is a cause when there is a suffering, when there is an agitation. We don't recognize it in time. We allow it to brew and brew. Ultimately to blaze. Then only we come to know. You know, there are some people who tell me, the first person who told me was in Jamshedpur, Swamiji, unless we destroy public property, the demand is not immediately heeded. A peaceful demonstration is never honored in the India. What? Unless the demonstration becomes violent, they will not listen to it. That is the problem. So there is something wrong in our administration also. Our administrative culture has to be different. It has to be improved. In the second Administrative Reforms Commission, they have submitted their report. And one recommendation is that there should be a code of conduct for the members of parliament. 2006 the recommendation was given. Kuch nahi kiya. Now I want to question it. Why did they appoint a commission? And what is their recommendation to be met with? Is it to be kept in the shelf? Money was spent from the taxpayers. It was a parliamentary decision, a governmental decision to appoint a commission. So when a commission is appointed, they feel that the task has to be done and we have no time and machinery for it. So they appoint selected people for going into the subject and presenting their recommendations. As soon as they present, loyalty, administrative fidelity demands that the recommendation should be implemented. But our government doesn't implement. So I want to question the philosophy of appointment of commission. I had a discussion in a platform with some of the Supreme Court judges. He said, it's very good. We also want to have a code of conduct for judiciary. Please bring it before us. So I have told our lawyer, my disciple lawyer, Supreme Court lawyer, please prepare it, please prepare it. I have also written to him. See, many things can be done, provided a few people are able to think. And through the courts, 50% of our problems can be resolved. Through the parliament, it may not be. Sometimes our parliament also says, it is better that we get a judgment from the Supreme Court so that we are free. Nobody will blame us. You get it through the horse's mouth. Then it's okay. They themselves say, Sudham Shuresha Swayam Arka Karkasha Prabhabhitaptam Avadikshitim Kila. I will recite it now for you. Ayam Swabhavaha
Ayam Swabhavaha
Swatayeva Yatpara
Swatayeva Yatpara
Shamapanoda Pravanam Mahatmanam
Shamapanoda Pravanam Yahatmanam
Ayam Swabhavaha
Ayam Swabhavaha
Swatayeva
Swatayeva
Yatpara Shamapanoda Pravanam Mahatmanam Sudham Shuresha
Sudham Suresha
Swayamarka Karkasha
Swayamarka Karkasha
Swayamarka Karkasha
Swayamarka Karkasha
Prabhabhitaptamavati Kshitim kila.
Sitim kila.
The meaning is, does not the moon with his cool radiance every day protect the earth, which is scorched by the hottest rays of the sun throughout the day? This is the example given. Any man who reads it, even a sage or a saint or a philosopher or a knower of truth, what will he become? He will find the standards for his own behavior, his character. Nobody need tell him. Now these are the ones which have shaped our character, our inner nature, our behavior. Our culture is not an offhand culture. It is a culture burnt and purified in the crucible of scriptural thoughts and declarations. Nothing can survive as a scripture unless there is an eternal essence and relevance in it. Many people can write many books. All of them will finally be forgotten. There is a lot of enlightenment here. There is a lot of reasoning here. There is a lot of experientiality here. We don't speak whatever we want. We speak whatever we should. We should. And whatever you need. I always tell people, I have a problem of talking what I want and blending it with what you need. Whatever I want, you may not hear. And whatever you need, I cannot speak. But I want to make you feel the need for what I say. So it's not an easy task. It's a very troublesome task. Somehow I have excelled in it for the past so many years. Except the age factor, I am still all right, I believe. I sometimes say, I have not got into the platform to tell you what you like. I have got up here to tell you what you want. You should want. I think these are things which every one of you, your children and grandchildren would want. Tell me whether yes or no. Yes. So let there be more and more good children of this kind of a character, behavior, interaction and spiritual noble dimensions in your family. Children are not going to be born in our ashrams, my dear souls. Ma tells me now and then, Swamiji, why don't you feel that you should have some very good disciples? I say, I have no problem. Who will look after the ashram? Who will be there? The society will have to give us. If the society does not give us, they themselves are going to starve. मुझे कोई नुकसान नहीं है, कभी भी. I will lose when God loses. I will want when He wants. I cannot have a greater concern than what God can have. So the society will have to give us. If the society doesn't give us, I am helpless. But she says that you should will and wish that there should be. I say that is there already. I already have some very good disciples. How many have? Ma? You have a count?
Not disciples. I talk about brahmacharis.
Brahmacharis. So I don't have any brahmacharis now, is it?
Very few.
How many?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. I wanted to have maximum 6, maximum, super maximum 12 people. I did not distinguish them as brahmacharis and non-brahmacharis. I think I already have about 8 or 10. अच्छा तो हो गया, इससे अधिक क्या है? I always tell Ma, we already are sufficient in number that we can administer the whole country. When we prepare a literature, a letter or otherwise in our ashram, and some of us go through it and finalize it, I think it can be sent to the United Nations or World Bank. उससे अधिक कुछ नहीं होगा, वो ठीक ही होगा. Our Swamiji the other day was saying, he seldom speaks like that. He is a very intelligent, very critical and very evaluative type of person with a lot of austere background also, nature. He was saying, he says there is no ashram in India where such beautiful literature which can be presented to the people as we have in the ashram. Such wonderful things, message we have. The question is how to reach it to the people. So we employed one person called Outreach Executive. He worked for a few months, did some job, but he has gone away for his own household work. I don't know whether you have seen our website. The other day, Dr. Natarajan told me, Swamiji, the ashram's website is so good. You can read it for 6 months, he said. So much of material is there. I would like you to have good and noble children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. All of them should be having first love for the family, faith in God, and a great concern for the society around. Through them alone, our society can be improved. I would like you, I mentally embrace all of you and bless you. Hari Om Tats.